Host Charlie McGrath. It is the 4th day of October 2012, Thursday, and once again I want to thank everybody for being patient with my fluctuating schedule over the last several weeks, and hopefully it becomes a little more stable now. But and again, I want to thank Eric Lovely for his ability to come on here and give you guys live programming, even though he took some people off. That's one of the reasons I love him. He's not afraid to say exactly what he thinks needs to be said. So I encourage everybody to have the same conviction in their beliefs, regardless of what they are. All right, joining us now, but we have Deborah Tavarres coming on, and she has got tons and tons of information that she's going to share with us tonight. And it's important information. So if you're not in the chat room and you would like to join us in chat, wideawakenews.com, click on the Wide Awake Radio button. You can join the folks in there now. If you want to call in and ask questions of Deborah, our number is 877-342-6673. I'll be happy to take your calls and post your... Oh, and I'm getting... okay, yeah, I'm overdriving the mic a little bit. Sorry about that, Brad. I didn't have a time to check it before I got on. Anyway, if you want to post questions in the chat, I'll monitor it. Deborah will be here if you want to call in and ask her a question directly, 877-342-6673. And but before we bring on Deborah, I want to reiterate a little bit of what we finished the first hour with, and I won't take a bunch of time doing this, but look, as I'm scanning through the news today, and I'm seeing this orgy of red team propaganda, knowing full well that I'm only a few days away from seeing the blue team orgy come out of propaganda, so we can have this true knuckle dragging fist cuff fight in the street over this election. I realize that this is part of the plan, and I don't know why it is so dang frustrating for me to see this, but it truly is. Not because this is what we expected, but just because so many of my fellow Americans are falling for this garbage. They're buying into it. They're believing that we're going to have a change, that something's going to be different, and the issues that were brought up last night are worthy of us bowing down at the feet of Mitt Romney, because he made points that stoked some emotion in the fictitious fantasy that is the conservative movement in this country. Look, nobody talked last night about butchering people around this planet. Nobody. It didn't get spoke to. Only in a braggadocious way when it was. Nobody talked about ending this expansion of empire around the country. Nobody talked about National Defense Authorization Act 2012. Nobody talked about the police state build-out. Nobody talked about returning to a constitutional republic. Nobody talked about what is happening environmentally around this globe. Nobody talked about what's going on with our food supply. These things that truly matter to you, Main Street. And this is the point. This is the point. When you listen to people talk about this debate, and I'm assuming 99.999% of the audience that listens to me on Rinse Radio Network, or the audience that's going to listen on Oracle, or the audience that's going to listen on YouTube, 99.999% of you are me. Your average middle-class America with a K, George W. Bush. You're not elite. You're not fabulously wealthy. You're not a member of the Illuminati. You're not a member of these groups that are controlling the destiny of the planet. 99.999% of the people listening to me are average American citizens or citizens of whatever nation that they happen to live in. So when we talk amongst our friends and we talk about this debate, and they're bringing up how good somebody did or how poor somebody did, it's incumbent upon us to say, look, they're not touching on anything. Jim Lair didn't ask any question. They didn't give any answer, period. Not on the tough questions. They didn't give anything that we didn't already know. They are going to continue the exact same agenda, the exact same regime. They're going, maybe put a different face on it, maybe not. Again, it is utterly meaningless at this point. War isn't going to stop. The destruction of our middle class isn't going to stop. The expansion of empire isn't going to stop. The build-out of the security state isn't going to stop. The destruction of our environment isn't going to stop. The exploitations of regions of the world for their resources isn't going to stop. It's all going to continue on track until we have the ultimate crisis. And this could be the crisis of, our Earth finally saying enough is enough, and the planet has had it, and it completely rebels because we pump so much chemicals and we fracked so many miles of land that we've destroyed our water supply, and we're creating earthquakes, and we're having meltdowns, and we're pumping the air full of garbage, and enough is enough, and we start dying off like the fish and the birds and everything else we've seen over the last years, dying off en masse. This isn't going to stop until we either kill ourselves or we've either taken any vestige of freedom left on this planet and lit it on fire and given all the power and control to a bunch of sick individuals that will stop at nothing to gain all the power. All right, that's my mini rant. I want to get Deborah on before we quickly run out of time in this first segment. Deborah, you and I were on together with Karen, correct? Deborah Tavarres,
yes,
everybody.
That is. Hi, Charlie. Yes.
How are you?
I'm good with all that we need to talk about tonight, and the fact that we're in Northern California living under increasingly smothered skies from the toxic chemtrails daily, and watching them pump out. And but I've got some tips for people that have been very helpful.
Before you do, hold on a sec, Deborah, because before you do, I want to make sure that I give out where I can find your work. Karen, God bless her heart, sent me links to your work, and it's everywhere. I mean, it's literally everywhere. I don't even know where to start. So let's start with toxicsky.org. We want to give that website out. We want to give out refusesmartmeters.com. What else we got?
Well, we have smartmetersmurder.com.
Okay.
And we have stopthecrime.net and toxicwater.org.
Okay, I don't have that one.
Yeah, I don't think I said that to Karen. That's predominantly information that people can go to see just how the effects of fluoride are. We put together short clips. We know that people don't have a lot of time in the source documents that the International Criminal Racketeering Organization has schemed and waged against us. We've been consolidating the information so that when people go to our sites, they can quickly look and see things easily. What we've done on stopthecrime.net is we have a document source section right at the top. They land and fall right into it. And some of the source documents that we recommend for everyone to immediately watch and read is the Iron Mountain report that was requested by JFK in 1961. He commissioned experts to meet in the nuclear survival retreat called Iron Mountain. And, of course, during the course of the next couple of years before he was assassinated in 1963, Kennedy started talking about secret societies.
Absolutely.
And we have a quote.
In fact, I have that clip every once in a while. I put it back up on the website. I try to put it up there like every 4 or 5 months.
Right. Well, we have the speech up there. Yeah, we have the speech up on our website, and for those that may not be aware of what it is, I'll just read it. It's a short paragraph.
No, hold on a sec. We're going to do our break. We'll do this break. When we come back, take off with that speech. So we're going to be right back with Deborah Tavarres and more Wide Awake News Radio in about 3 minutes, guys. Hang tight. Guys, welcome back to Wide Awake News Radio. I'm your host, Charlie McGrath. Our guest is environmental activist Deborah Tavarres. Am I pronouncing that right, Tavarres?
Yeah, Tavarres. That's perfect, Charlie, yes.
Well, that's rare that I pronounce a name perfectly.
Yeah, that was great. I was getting ready to quickly just read that one paragraph, that JFK quote, for people.
Well, you know what? If you want me to, I have it queued up. I can play it if you'd like.
Well, you could do that. I'm very, very anxious to get into this other document.
Read it.
Okay, I'll just read it very quickly. For we're opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies on covert means for expanding its sphere of influence, on infiltration instead of invasion, on subversion instead of elections, on intimidation instead of free choice, on guerrillas by night instead of armies by day. It is a system that has conscripted vast human material resources into the building of a tightly knit, highly efficient machine that combines military, diplomatic, intelligence, economic, scientific, and political operations. Now, this was just a few weeks before he was assassinated. Another quote that doesn't get too much play is former FBI Director J. Edgar Hoover in 1956. And he said, the individual is handicapped by coming face-to-face with a conspiracy so monstrous he cannot believe it exists. The American mind simply has not come to the realization of the evil which has been introduced into our midst. It rejects even the assumption that human creatures can espouse a philosophy which must ultimately destroy all that is good and decent. Now, with that, Charlie, I'd like to have everybody go to stopthecrime.net and look at the source documents that we have there. We have posted the Iron Mountain report. You can download it as a PDF, or you can watch it in video form. We also have Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars, a very, very important 41-page document, which will talk about the elections and how they laugh and scoff at us for giving us this distraction and allowing us temporary relief from our anxiety on how the world is operating. It's amazing to hear how they talk about the falseness of elections. And then we have the New World Order plans exposed by Insider 1969, plus a number of very, very important documents, military documents, Fort Meade military documents that talk about microwaving radiation technologies that are intended to cause harm on the targets. And that leads me into my website, refusesmartmeter.com, and aka smartmetersmurder.com. And I first became very, very interested in smart meters because we have the responsibility of tenants in buildings, and they were concerned about the radiation. And when we found out there was no environmental impact study and there was no UL underwriting lab on fires, as builders, we would have never have been able to have gotten occupancy with anything that was not underwritten or that did not have an environmental impact study. It would have been considered unsafe. Now they're requiring that homeowners they deploy these biohazards on us. Now, further research into that through the IEEE, the Institute for Electrical and Electronics Engineers, reveals who the backers are, and we know it's the criminal cabal, IBM, the World Bank, the Department of Energy, the Department of Defense, NASA, all the big players. They're all involved in this military action of weaponizing the United States with these biohazards, and this is exactly what it is. When you have police escorting utility companies onto properties to deploy smart meters against the customer's wishes with guns, this is a military action. And we just actually had a victory in California. The Los Angeles District Attorney just said that we were not going to be held responsible for any misdemeanor charges for taking off the smart meters and putting on the safe analog meters because it showed that we were not intending to steal any electricity or to change any billing. But they still came in like a SWAT team onto a couple of buildings, and with the armed escort of the local police department, they came and they yanked our safe meters off and reinstalled smart meters. So we're in the throes of another round of that. We simply, as property owners, cannot allow a biohazard on our buildings to create illness for our tenants. And many of them are already starting to feel some of the frequency disturbances that this is doing to us and to all of us, actually. You add the smart meters in with the cell phone towers and the antennas, we are absolutely being microwaved.
Bombarded. Yeah, being bombarded without a doubt. So they, if I understood you correctly, they literally brought enforcement, jackbooted thugs into your property to, even though you won the case, and still installed these meters?
Well, let me back up a bit. We sent letters to Southern California Edison in Southern California, telling them at the end of last year that we needed them to remove the smart meters, or we were going to do that. Right. They, of course, didn't. We went we filmed everything. It was up on YouTube. We took off all the smart meters. We labeled everything. We delivered all those meters back to the utility company, Edison. We reinstalled the safe analog meters. We built cages around them to protect them from vandalism.
Right.
And Edison then wanted to meet with us. They canceled the appointment with us and never contacted us before we suddenly were getting dozens of phone calls, very frightened phone calls from tenants saying, what are all these police doing? And Edison is here, and they're cutting the wire cages.
Jeez, you got to be kidding me. They're that dedicated. Deborah, hang on one sec. I want you to finish that story, but we have to take this break. Guys, we'll be back in just a few minutes after these messages. Hey guys, it's Charlie McGrath with Wide Awake News Radio and WideAwakeNews.com. In 2007, 26 million Americans were on food stamps. 2012, the numbers exploded to over 46 million people relying on the government to put food on the table. Debt's out of control across the planet, pushing us towards a financial Armageddon. Talk of war seems to fill every newscast. And disasters, both man-made and natural, seem to be on the rise. Can you think of a better time in history than now to be prepared for the unexpected? Guys, I want to introduce you to our new partners in alternative media. BuyEmergencyFoods.com. BuyEmergencyFoods.com offers the best kind of emergency food, Legacy Premium, with the largest variety available in the freeze-dried food industry. Each meal is packed for freshness in an individual nitrogen-flushed Mylar pouch. The meal is then sealed in a stackable heavy-duty plastic container that's easy to store, easy to transport, and won't be damaged by water or rodents. So if you're worried about food inflation, economic crisis, unemployment, natural disaster, then don't delay. Prepare your family now. Visit our new partners in alternative media, BuyEmergencyFoods.com. Give them a call at 888-543-7345, or again, visit them at BuyEmergencyFoods.com.
You're listening to Charlie nationwide and worldwide on the Internet, on the Rinse Radio Network.
Are you in debt, having sleepless nights, sick of constant creditor phone calls? Want a guaranteed solution? Become a member of DebtorManagementSystems.com, and we will take all of your creditor calls. That's right, we'll manage all of your creditor calls. Go to DebtorManagementSystems.com and join up today. Or call 855-332-8782. That's 855-332-8782. Join today and take the stress out of your life. Are you having trouble paying your mortgage? Maybe your mortgage loan is upside down or in foreclosure. Maybe the bank already foreclosed on you. Don't be a victim of bank fraud. Fight back. Here's how. Go to InspectorAudit.com and find out the truth about your loan. Did you know that 78% of the loans in the last 10 years violated consumer credit laws? We should not let the banks get away with that kind of fraud. Go to InspectorAudit.com or call 855-373-4948. That's 855-373-4948. And start fighting bank fraud today.
Heart-related health problems affect millions of people each year. Maybe you're one of the many who suffer from issues related to angina pain, high blood pressure, congestive heart failure, unbalanced cholesterol, irregular heartbeat, or clogged arteries. There is a solution that doesn't involve expensive prescription drugs that only mask the problem and leave you with horrible side effects. If you are ready to live your life free of sickness, pain, and fear, live your life with increased vitality, energy, and youthfulness, and experience experience your body healing itself, then you're ready for Heart and Body Extract from Healthy Hearts Club. Heart and Body Extract has a 23-year proven track record of using certified organic herbs that make up an excellent formula to balance and support the heart and circulatory system. In as little as 2 weeks, you can feel amazing results when your 2-month supply of Heart and Body Extract today. Call 1-866-295-5305 or go to hbextract.com.
Guys, welcome back to Wide Awake News Radio. I'm Charlie McGrath, your host. Deborah Tavarres is our guest, and she was telling us a story about on her own property. It's not third person; it's her own property. They had caged in the analog meters, and you were telling us your tenants were calling you because they were cutting the cages off and installing these dreaded smart meters.
Yeah, they call it deploying the meters, and appropriately so, because this is a complete military action. I want to let everyone know, of course, that the meters are for total surveillance. They will enslave us in our homes because they will monitor everything. The smart meters are only the collection device, the first requirement that will enable the grid. Its ultimate success is dependent on everybody repurchasing appliances to those that have RFID chips in them, and they've been manufacturing those appliances since 1995. So it's very important to not buy appliances that have the chips in them, and to not allow a smart meter. Do whatever it takes to prevent a smart meter on your home. People are getting sick. We are hearing about hundreds and hundreds of people that are having to flee the area as the frequencies build up, not only from the smart meters, particularly if you are in a community where the homes and the side yard setbacks are minimal. And if you're in the country, well, they can just amp up the requests from the meters and continue to increase the radiation request. It's like a thermostat. And people are getting sick and they're fleeing. And, of course, the concern, and you can see that on stopthecrime.net, we've posted the Wildlands Project map. It shows a map of the United States where where human access will be denied. And as we see more and more people fleeing from the packed cities, trying to seek distance in the rural, in more open areas, that will not be afforded them. We are being refused access now in many parks. Our roads are being allowed to crumble. This is all by design. You can go to those source documents on stopthecrime.net and see exactly what they are doing to us and what their ultimate plan is. Now, it's very important in the document, Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars, they have a quote in here, and they talk about, until such energy dominance is absolutely established, the consent of the people to labor and let the elites handle their affairs must be taken into consideration, since failure to do so could cause the people to interfere in the final transfer of energy resources to the control of the elite. It's therefore essential that we recognize this. So what they're telling us is that they need our conformity to allow them to dominate all energy. And we're talking about water, gas, electricity, and food. And I also, on the Carnegie Mellon website, fell into a mission statement from an infrastructure that they're affiliated with, and they talk about a hidden secret that they are anxious to unveil to the world. And that hidden secret is that they are replacing our conventional infrastructure with cyber infrastructure. There will be sensors in concrete, in steel, in every single thing. Now, again, keep these smart meters off your homes. This is a militarized radiation program to incarcerate us and enslave us in our homes. They won't need FEMA camps because they can essentially corral us in our homes. And also with these cell phone towers, go to antennasearch.com and find out where the antennas and cell phone towers are nearest you. These are weaponized. We have documents up again on stopthecrime.net that will lay that out in great detail. There are literally thousands of scientific documentation talking about the known frequencies that will interfere with our brains. This is known. In fact, in 1970 in Medford, Oregon, Medford had 25 suicides within a 24-hour period. And when the researchers discovered that that was because of frequencies that were beamed down upon Medford, Oregon, they were told never, ever to discuss this or say what they saw, or they could potentially be killed. So I'm saying that this has been something in the wings for a long time. They've experimented. They now have a complete ability to surveil us, track us. These cell phone towers are strategically placed. When you drive up any major highway now in the United States, you'll start seeing them disguised as trees in every type of tree. Pine trees, palm trees, they're in church steeples, they are
and of course they're telling us, I said, and of course all this is being done under the guise of, well, we don't want it to be an eyesore for the community. So they are camouflaging. They'll start them at base colors of environment, green or dark blue, and then lighten them as they get taller. So I guess you're not supposed to notice this massive cell tower standing there.
Well, that is, of course, how they're selling it to the communities, right. But they are completely weaponized. And when you look at the documents and the scientific evidence and the fact that it creates whole cities and countries to become less viable, people become depressed, then they go to big pharma for the drugs, they get cancer clusters around these things. This is being hatched by design all over the United States. And they say it in their documents. In fact, they say in their documents that if we're too stupid to read what they tell us, then we deserve to die. And again, in those source documents, you will see exactly what I am saying right now. And I want to say, too, about this NASA document. It's posted on our website. It is unbelievable. It says that everything in the document is based upon existing data, trends, analysis, and technologies. There's no pixie dust. And then this is, quote, Spaceship Earth. The crew is plundering the ship's supplies, tinkering with the temperature and life support controls, still looking for the instruction manual, engaging in bloody skirmishes in all corners of the vessel, increasing the size of the crew by 2 million per week. Humans have taken over and vastly shortened evolution of the planet, global warming, pollution, and deforestation. Then they go on to demonize the United States in many aspects, comparing us with a low percentage of savings, 3% compared to Asia, 30%, etc. They also talk about the IT revolution upon society. Everything will be telecommuting, teleshopping, entertainment, travel, education, Medicare, commerce, politics, socialization. In fact, the more isolation, the more control they will have. They talk about how India graduates 3 times the amount of software engineers than the United States. There's more software written in Bangalore than in Southern California. They say that by the year 2025, 40% of private and 15% of public colleges and universities are expected to close due to web-based competition. They talk about a Virginia businessman who donated $100 million to set up a free Ivy League class online. Of course, we know they can rewrite our corporate memory by everything they're putting online, Kindle, etc. They can change all the books. They can change our history, which they're doing all the time. You'll see in the source documents how they've been stealing and taking out resources out of libraries, books. For years, they've been pilfering the libraries to remove books that they don't want us to have available. They talk about how, in this document, how the cell phone towers and the frequencies will interfere with our brains, that this is a cheap way to attack people. This is an inexpensive war. They say the effects of low-power microwave...
Deborah, hold on. Hold on one sec. We're going to take our last break of the program, but this is so Orwellian. It's 1984. Everything you're describing there has been pre-written. Changing history, scrubbing history. We're going to be right back with Deborah Tavarres and more Wide Awake News Radio.
2%. This is the number that the federal government wants you to believe represents inflation in our country. 2%. Now, maybe that's true if we back out necessity items we need just to live, such as energy and food. But the fact of the matter is, I don't have to tell you food prices are on the increase. They have been for years, and it's going to continue to rise. The real question is, are we getting better quality food for this increase in price? According to the CDC, the answer is no. A March 2012 report shows foodborne illnesses are on the rise. Guys, we are so lucky to have the folks at SeedsNow.com as sponsors of Wide Awake News Radio. Not only are Chris and the folks at SeedsNow.com offering thousands of non-GMO, non-hybrid, non-Frankenfood seeds that can go out the door today, they're looking into the future as well and offering outstanding values on things such as the Mini Mega Seed Bank with over 48,000 seeds and the Mega Super Survival Seed Kit with over 58,000 seeds. SeedsNow.com is a sponsor of Wide Awake News Radio because they care about alternative media and they care about getting the truth out. So let's support those that support alternative media. And if you go there today and put in the promo code WIDEAWAKE10, you will receive an instant 10% discount on all your orders. So please visit SeedsNow.com and use the promo code WIDEAWAKE10 to receive your discount.
If you're taking 1, 2, 5, or more nutritional supplements, please stop. Simplify your supplementation with Bio Superfood, the most advanced nutritional whole food supplement you can buy. Men, women, children, even Olympic athletes the world over have discovered Bio Superfood from BioAge.com. And now take just one nutritional supplement instead of many. The Bio Superfood formulas are whole food products composed with 4 of the most nutrient-dense algae found on Earth. Bio Superfood for the brain helps with focus, memory, clarity, and mood. If you can increase brain health, the rest of the body is a no-brainer. Bio Superfood has 0 toxicity and is safe for you and your family. Learn more and order your Bio Superfood formulas at BioAge.com, spelled BIOAGE.com, BioAge.com, or call 877-288-9116. That's 877-288-9116. BioAge, the age of advanced organics.
Are chemtrail geoengineering programs changing our weather and destroying our environment? Why in the world are they spraying?
They want to create a storm in the southeast, then they'll start engineering out over the North Pacific. That's where the tragedies will be.
Find out why critics are calling Why in the World Are They Spraying the most important film that is revolutionizing the environmental movement.
It's just going to get worse until the point where we're not going to be able to grow anything at all unless it's a Monsanto genetically modified, abiotic stress resistant seed.
Why in the world are they spraying? New international version with languages available from around the world. For 1 month, Rinse listeners receive free shipping. Go to the banner on the front of the Rinse website and click on the link for more info.
It's all about money, and weather is another form of commoditizing, a way the Central Command Group can commoditize another form of our life.
Why in the world are they spraying?
And if you control the weather, you're going to control the planet. It's that simple.
Make a promise, take a vow, trust your feelings, it's easy now. Understand the voice within and feel a change already beginning.
Welcome back to Wide Awake News Radio. I'm Charlie McGrath, your host. Our final segment of this 4th of October, Thursday. I do want to remind everybody tomorrow night is Karen's Corner. And on the topic of secret societies that Deborah brought up earlier in John F. K's famous speech, tomorrow night Karen is going to have James Wright, a former Scottish Rite Freemason, on, who's going to break down secret societies. And for those of you who are skeptical of this information that I bring or Deborah is bringing tonight or Karen will tomorrow night, especially for what Deborah's bringing to us tonight, all of this, everything she's telling you, everything that she's reading from, I mean, she's not coming off the top of her head. This is documented. This is archived and filed at stopthecrime.net. Just click on the source documents, and you can read it for your very own self. Obviously, in a very short hour, she can't elaborate the depths of the origin of every single document. But fortunately for you, you can go to stopthecrime.net and spend as much time as you can stomach reading this stuff for yourself. Deborah?
Yes, well, this NASA document is particularly disturbing, and I would recommend that everybody take a look at it. Because
continue with it. You were going on about the NASA document before I cut you off.
Yes, that is correct. It is posted on stopthecrime.net, and I'll read page 43. It talks about microdust weaponry. It talks about the dust, which is distributed as an aerosol and inhaled into the lungs. Dust is mechanically bores into our lung tissue and executes various pathological missions. They say this is a completely new class of weaponry, and it is legal. It is legal that they attack the human beings this way. They also talk about how counters to U.S. information dominance. They talk about an EMP, which is electromagnetic pulse. They talk about robots, everything. They talk about the inefficiency of humans. We're too big, too slow, both physically and mentally, that we're fast becoming usurped by robots, which, by the way, are now being looked into to actually have reflective thought. We're talking about robots and reflective thought. They're talking about sending hordes and swarms of weaponized insects, both in drones and also just poisoned insects, which they're creating all over the country as it is right now anyway, to just mass hysteria and fear. They talk about the CNN syndrome. And, of course, many people, I think, are aware that CNN has been a psychological warfare front for much of this. We know that what we don't hear on our regular news channels, obviously, they've been sold out and bought out, which is why we are in the state that we are right now. Had we known about these things, we wouldn't be here. They say if you can see it in this new war condition, you can kill it. That no home and no foxhole will be safe, even underground. Everything can be gotten to in this NASA document. They talk about how again the frequencies will be used. Oh gosh, they talk about robotics, and they say that they will have a robot that can chew. And they call it, this is a quote, chew, a flesh, plant-eating robot that hunts, biodigests natural foods to live off the land.
Unbelievable. I have not read this document yet, but I know what I'm doing tonight.
Everybody needs to be looking at this because
where did this one document, where did this come from? Where did you guys find? Where did you get it?
We found it through a group of people that have been talking about it for a while. I'm surprised that it hasn't gotten out into more of the talk show venue at this point. We've had it vetted, and it is just unbelievable. And what is just absolutely so horrific is the sensors and everything, the being able to get to everything. They're going to create tidal waves to completely destroy areas 50 miles inland along the coastlines. Of course, there's been a concern as to why along the California coast and, of course, the eastern seaboard, they've been using sonar and lasers and bombs and just destroying everything along our coastline. And, of course, when you read this document, you find out that everything is going to be played underwater. They say anything that is surface-based is going to be annihilated. The warfare of the future will be played underwater with subs. And, of course, the huge amount of taking of the whales that do interfere with subs could be, part of the reason that they're annihilating the millions and millions of tons of sea mammals. But this document goes on to talk about we have undefendable coastlines against underwater threats. We have sensitivity to casualties, and this will be greatly enhanced by psychological warfare. They'll use our vulnerabilities to terrorism and our sensitivities. We will be just attacked by hordes and swarms, long-range precision, explosive and non-explosive, and smart to brilliant. When you read this document, you think about a sick psychopath's computer game, and it sounds like that. It sounds like a horrific sci-fi movie script that's being played out like a computer game against the American people. They talk about the continental U.S. and what they're going to do. They talk about planning to show the murdering of Americans on television as part of the psychological warfare. And it's absolutely a very, very difficult document to read. But everybody needs to know this is what NASA is involved in. This is what they've been doing. We know that the smart grid has been stealthily and deceptively deployed upon us. We know that the data that they're gathering is going into that central database collecting center. They're building that 1 million square foot building in Bluffdale, Utah. We know that one of the whistleblowers, one of the former NSA crypto mathematicians, said everybody's a target. Everybody with communication is a target. And he said we're a turnkey from a totalitarian state. And we know that, closed doors will no longer give us any privacy. We cannot hide from the radiation. And it's time, we now are being met with a foe, as Kennedy said, guerrillas by night instead of armies by day. This is a war of frequencies. We don't see it, we don't taste it, we can't touch it. But this is the war now being waged against us, and we don't realize it. We're getting sick, we're getting headaches, we're not sleeping well through the night.
What is the ultimate goal? I'm looking at it here. It's 114 pages long, and I'm going through it as you're talking, and you're right. It's troubling at best and terrifying at worst. I think. Go ahead.
Yeah, everyone needs to read these documents. They need to look at the other source documents. We've got another document up on our site called Grill Flame, Grill, Flame, Flame. It talks about many of the frequency studies that were done on unknowing and unwilling people through various military studies and otherwise over the years. They've been doing all of this since the 40s. And frequencies are going to be the path in which they are going to take us down, because this is fingerprintless. And they say that in the NASA document. It's fingerprintless. And we're going to be going to our doctors with headaches. Also, we're advising everybody that has the silver amalgam fillings to get them removed by a dentist that is certified in removing amalgams. They build a dam to prevent you from getting mercury poisoning. But it's very important to get those removed at this time, because now, in general, people that I've talked to and that I hear are not sleeping well through the night because they're turning up the frequencies at night. It's both through HAARP and the overhead aerial plasma that they keep up amongst an overhead, most of us, all the time. They pump that with frequencies, and that is interfering with our REM sleep. This is reducing our ability to recover at night when we should be healing. It's decreasing our immune system so that all of these attacks are going to mount to more disease and distress upon our bodies. And
with only a minute left, I think I posed the question wrong. I know your goal is to get as many people informed as possible. What is the end goal of the powers that be with these plans? I mean, is it going to be an all-out attack on humanity? To whittle down, are we looking at a Georgia Guidestone?
Well, we are looking at a Georgia Guidestones, and again, I refer back to the source documents, especially the Silent Weapons Quiet Wars. They talk about genocide. We know that they do want to eliminate between 80 and 95% of the population. It seems as though, in particular, the Americans are in the crosshairs.
No doubt about it.
Yes.
No doubt about it.
And so
this
that
is
is
already
what they're
unfolding.
doing. So what we need to do in order to exist as long as we're able to is to not eat GMO foods, not get the shots, not drink the fluoridated water, do everything you can. Get your vitamins. Get rest. Work through your anguish about the betrayal that we're all suffering from. We're all suffering from massive betrayal, and we have been massively deceived. Get past it. Start telling your friends, and start...
accept reality. That's the biggest step right there, is accepting
reality. That's exactly right.
Deborah Tavarres, I thank you very much for your efforts and your hard work, and I thank you for getting all that information into a very short radio program interview. Guys, again, you're very welcome. You're very welcome. Guys, if you want more information on this, and I really encourage you to go to stopthecrime.net. Again, everything she talked about is there. It's documented. You can read it for yourself and take that information and hopefully use it to benefit yourself, your family, and your community. Deborah